Well, welcome everyone to another live episode of Jacob's Ladder. I am so glad that all of you are here as we enter into another dimension, a stranger dimension where everything is switched. There's gonna be a flip I tell you. Things turning from forwards to backwards, from backwards to forward, front to back, back to front. Topsy-turvy. It is the end days after all. Welcome. I'm your host, Jacob Israel. I know it's been a minute since we have been live with each other, but I'm very excited that I've come back for this show. Take a look at this thumbnail. The shift has hit. The mark, the rapture, and the switch into stranger things indeed. Wow. Are you all happy that you're here? Are you all buckled up? Has everybody hit that like button so that we can begin the show? Because it would help me and it would be a lot more fun. The more people we have, the more exciting the times are. I don't know if you've noticed, there's a lot of crazy stuff happening with the sun. They say that it's time for its poles to, guess what? Tell me in the live chat. Flip! That's right. The upside down. Stranger things. Reversal. The sun poles are about to flip and it's awesome and slightly terrifying. Every 11 years or so, the sun undergoes these epic changes. Its magnetic poles are reversed. Now, the last time this happened was like 2013. A lot of weird things have happened since then. But it's not so much the actual flip that freaks everybody out. It's the events that happen leading up to it. It's the solar flares and the things that, well, if you're new to the channel and you haven't been watching my videos, I've been talking about. My last video, in fact, had to do with all of the communication that went down. This is some serious business that we're dealing with. Communication being lost. That McDonald sign that you see there, McDonald's, as we know, the sign has been flipped. I even put a little post out there on X about it to explain it a little bit further. I may have gone a little bit far to say that McDonald's new changing of their logo from McDonald's to upside down WickDonald's, that I thought that it might be a little bit sus. And the more I looked into it, the more I found that this campaign was indeed very, very sus, but also could possibly be one of those things that we've been waiting for. A sign, if you will. A token. A mark. An omen. Evidence that we have been waiting to see and to hear. Now, McDonald's put out that post, and it had a date. And the date was 2/2/6. It's happening. Now, a lot of people were quick after I posted about this to add more information. One of them was LaDonna, who I applauded openly, who said Strong's 226 means a sign. We know that Strong's is that book. It's a concordance, and it takes every passage, every word in Scripture, and it marries it to like a number. So when you have the number, you have that word that goes along with it. The number 226. It has two meanings. One in Hebrew, which means a mark, a signal, an omen, a sign, and a witness. Interesting. And in Greek, it means, guess what? To teach the truth. You can get that merch, by the way, if you want to support the channel. You go into you hit the description of the video and you go down and I have a bunch of links. And if you want, there's a lot of different merch you can choose from. This was the first prayer that I ever prayed. Teach me the truth. And then on the back, no matter what the cost. Sorry about the light flares. I'm still working with some lighting issues. It's very strange how it just, at certain moments. Teach me the truth in Greek. And in Hebrew, it means a mark, a sign, a tav. The tav is the last letter in the Hebrew alphabet. It's 22. This is a number that we've spoken about on the channel many times. Told you all to be on the lookout for it. And now it is everywhere a person could be. So let me show you this. Let me just pull this up. And let me play this for you so you can get an idea. Hope everything is good. Let me turn off and there we go.
And also on 222, McDonald's launched its dark twin, McDonald's, to celebrate all of the anime characters and all of the anime shows that have changed the letter of McDonald's to McDonald's to avoid being sued. You can meet the characters here at the website. The only characters.
Now, no word on what could be causing this outage this morning. A lot of people saying that it started around midnight East Coast time,
Very strange, don't you think? That the only character that is now available, well, it's called Midnight. Midnight. Taylor Swift was up in arms over the clock that she had upside down on her neck. She wanted to make sure that it was set to midnight. And at midnight, well, that is when Christ, the bridegroom, calls. That's the moment when those that are ready, who trimmed their lamps, those that have been asking for the truth and seeking and living a good life and gathering up wisdom instead of storing up hatred towards others, the lights go on. I like how the lights went on by accident there. The lights go on. There's a flip, a switch that takes place from McDonald's to McDonald's. A new universe. A new universe is coming. That is what McDonald's is saying. At the same time, we see McDonald's logo switching, flipping, turning upside down. Does anybody remember that commercial from the 80s, Do the Arches, by the way? Look up into the right-hand corner. Do the Arches. That was a whole thing. I told a buddy of mine, I said, when I was young, if you made that sign, you were calling somebody like a penis head. That's what you were doing. That's what you were doing. But I guess this was their whole campaign. The golden arches. The golden arches. The arches. When I hear that word, the arch, I think of the arches and Masonic tradition, the pillars and the arches. Very strange. The arch is what holds up. It's a very important piece of the puzzle. Well, now the arches are what? They're being flipped upside down. Upside down, at the exact same time, we have NASA. They're exploring a new upside-down universe. Thank you, Carrie, for that super chat. I appreciate it. Give me 1 second. I'm going to try to lower this light a little bit. It's been a minute since I've been here live with all of you. I'm so happy to see everybody. How's everyone doing in the chat? Y'all doing good? Y'all doing good? That's good to see. Hit the like. Thank you, Scott Ferguson. Hit the like. Let people know. But this is their big ad. Their big ad is a new universe is coming. It's time to level up with McDonald's sauce. McDonald's sauce. That special sauce. Very bizarre. But it gets more bizarre the more I got this little vibe. And my vibe was, if things are being flipped on their head, because I've been talking about the flip that's going on, perhaps we're going to see a lot more things being flipped. Now, when that N becomes the M, when it becomes the W, you get the letter 23. That's the 23rd letter. The M being number 13. And of course, that 23rd letter stands for psi, which is where we get the word psychology from. You see, all of this really has to do with the mind. It's that trident. And that's exactly what it kind of looks like when you look at it upside down. Kind of looks like a trident. A trident, which is actually used, by the way, by one of them sea gods to rip the flesh from a person. It's a form of judgment. But when you see this M and this N flipped upside down, you start to see that there's a lot more flipping going on. Did you know Paul McCartney and John Lennon, they used to play each other's guitars upside down? On X, I shared how Prada just released its new line, and the whole thing is it's upside down, back to front. A federal judge right now is turning the NCAA into chaos. Remember the last live video I did with the cast of The Wizard of Oz, and Donald was dressed like a sorcerer, and it said K-Oz, like O-Z. Well, we're going to see how The Wizard of Oz and how Dorothy, when she clicks those heels together, ends up back home learning something after a whole world is turned upside down and she enters into a parallel reality. Her world is turned upside down. All of this stuff happening. In fact, it's the exact model that the show Stranger Things carries out. It's all about the upside down. There being a negative universe. For every heaven, there's a hell. These things that I'm talking about here, they have a lot of spiritual weight to them. Spiritual weight in a sense that we probably haven't seen, and now all we do is see it. All we do is see the world. It's turned upside down. It's making no sense. It's Bizarro world lately. It really is. It's absolutely out of control, ridiculous. Talking to people from 20 years ago, 10 years ago, if you told them all of the madness that was happening today, they would say you're full of baloney. And they'd probably be right, because we're full of the bull, Baal, upside down. Now, Stranger Things actually is coming out with, and I should say just came out with a new, like a VR game, where you get to go into the upside down. Now, that would be the reverse world. That would be the Bizarro world. That would be, from the light to the darkness. You can play that evil character, Vecna. You can actually play Vecna, take over things. Now, there are people that think that the world is already being taken over, and perhaps already has been, by artificial intelligence. Do you know who joins the cast of Stranger Things this year? Linda Hamilton. Thank you, Perseus. I appreciate the super chat. Linda Hamilton says that joining Stranger Things season 5 ruined the show for her because she loved the show. She jumped into Hawkins, Indiana for the highly anticipated 5th and final season of Netflix's 5th and final season. The finale begins. That universe in that show has already been loosed in the world. Now the final battle begins. And you got the star Terminator smack dab in the middle of it. I wonder if this has anything at all to do with what we're going through. The M and the W. The upside down. Stranger things are happening indeed. They just discovered a black hole. Huge monster black hole. Another dimension. And it may be the most hellish place in the universe. The most hellish place in the universe. Not to mention, I posted about Prada. Let me show you. Let me see if I can actually pull that up. And the Devil Wears Prada reunion was just at the SAG Awards. It's just so strange because I'm posting about Prada. And then what happens? Here's their, backwards to forwards. Just doesn't make any sense. This is their fashion. Very bizarre. These people are strange. I can't help but think hair on the outside of the hat isn't really a look. There's something about everything being turned upside down and on its head. We're going to talk about Donut's video in a second, too. He did a great video. But that's it. Lots of flips going on. Spooky. Spooky to think that this madness is happening today, and it's about to get even crazier. Like, this is my feeling. Could be wrong, but I just have a feeling. Flips everywhere you go. There may be a dark mirror universe within our universe. That's from last week. This is a big thing. An alternate reality being loosed on the earth. Or maybe a takeover. Or maybe a switch was tipped, was flipped. Maybe there's something already in the works. I see videos of people going poopy in garbage cans on social media. Like, and a bunch of people are resharing it. It's weird. It's not weird that NASA has launched a new UVEX mission to actually see an ultraviolet light universe. A universe that doesn't exist on the spectrum of light that we operate on. Sounds a lot like Stranger Things. You know who Shane Gillis is? Who in the live chat knows Shane Gillis, thinks the guy's a funny guy? I don't know. I didn't know much about him until all of a sudden he was shoved down my throat. And he was just on Saturday Night Live. And guess what? He's a flip-flopper, a flop flipper. It's all about the flip. And what's weird about Mr. Gillis is the fact that he goes out there and, he was taking a lot of heat for, I guess, his political views and how he's changed and, how he's not woke or whatever. And he got fired from the show and everybody, the outcry, whatever. Meanwhile, he's hosting SNL. We got to ask ourselves, are these things that happen, are they part of some kind of a plan? You usually get fired from a show. They don't let you star in the show. They don't let you host the show. But he did do a couple of funny things besides telling everybody that he wanted to be a 9th grade sex ed teacher, which I thought was just a weird joke. He said he's the body of a football coach, and that he that's just weird. Just weird. Had his parents in the audience. He was putting them down a little bit. Shane Gillis did this bit, which I thought was very funny. And it was on Trump's shoes. Trump's shoes, the golden shoes that are going? They're going for like a lot of money. Somebody paid like $9,000. Now, ironically, the Trump shoes that have the T, they here's a quick picture of the skit that went down where he was actually, he was kind of a loser. He wasn't doing great. And, he couldn't make that 3-point shot and everything kind of stunk until he got a special package from Donald Trump. And in that package, he found these great shoes. These great shoes that all of a sudden he puts the shoes on, and he's not a better basketball player. He's not better, in the bedroom with the wife. He's not better at work, but he just says that he is. He changes the very perception of what people think by wearing the shoes. He flips the script on the people. So he misses the shot. He's wearing the shoes. They kind of give him a hard time, and he goes, no, the shot went in. And they all can't see the truth because of groupthink. You can be hypnotized into thinking things are one way. You can be given all sorts of evidence, but for the comfort of the crowd, you will fight to stick up for and to stand up for a lie. If you can lie, good. It's a good thing in this world today, even though it's not a good thing ultimately. But today that we're in, evil is perceived as good and good is perceived as evil. It's flipped. And we are in Bizarro world right now. It's out of control. It's all about perspective. Hill Has Eyes pointed this out on X. Follow that account. Has a lot of cool insight. Was an Israelite like every one of you watching the show. And then got over on X and just kind of felt inspired to share. So I applaud everybody. But his South Carolina event, doesn't that look like an M? Doesn't that look like a W? Doesn't that look like a pitchfork? Doesn't that look like the sigh? Doesn't that look like the Trident? By the way, Trident missiles, they're failing. They're failing. England's having all sorts of issues. I had a dream about England last night. I was in England and they were being bombed. Not like terrible bombs, but like bombs that could, it's like they could blow you up. And I was running from them, and for whatever reason, it was Germany. So it doesn't make a lot of sense. I usually post about these things, but a weird dream about England, because England's their Trident missiles failing to launch, failing to do what there's a spiritual meaning to all of this, people. There's a flip going on. 2024 election map forecasts Trump to score biggest, and Trump did double it. Victory. Historic. Never happened before. Go figure. Who would have told you this? This guy. I told you. Why did I tell you? Because I speculate. I look at the world and I get ideas and I share it. And Jason Gooden, you're ahead of me with Mario and Wario. That's right. Bizarro world. I can still see everybody in the chat. Yeah, that's great. I love when people add, Wario, Mario, right? Bizarro. And guess who played Wario? Who was that guy? You know, it was Elon. But let's get back to Trumpster here, shall we? Now, his shoes are called branded. Branded. Do you know what branding is? Do you know what a brand is? A brand is a mark. God gives a mark and the enemy. People take the mark of the enemy. There's two marks. It's two groups of individual. Children of God, children of the devil. This is the day that we're in. Tables are flipped. The big battle. Jesus goes in, he flips the tables. Everything's different now. Spiritually speaking. But in the world, it's going to get kooky. People are going to start going nuts. I have a feeling. I don't know if that's true. This is all just speculation for, inspiration and encouragement. And I'm just kind of sharing like this the way my mind works, Rhonda Peterson. I'm Rhonda's favorite meatball, right? I don't got no crystal ball, but I do know I have faith that everything is working according to God's perfect plan. Part of that plan seems to be people paying for special sneakers, golden sneakers. Golden sneakers, which have the Tav on them, that T. The Tav, which is very significant. It's the mark. Number 22. Remember Elon was wearing 22? Elon named his youngest child, the child that he just had, Tau. Tav. It's the mark. This is the day when Christ rises. He calls his bride. This is the day when those that led to captivity are put into captivity. Those that set free are liberated. Those that do the will of God. This is the Passion of the Saints. It's going to be a tough time. I've likened this to what's called the second death. I had an idea recently that this 1,000 years of Christ, reign of Christ, and the 1,000 years that the devil is loosed, that it all kind of coincides at the same exact time. Just like these two sets of cicadas that are going off. 13-year cycle, 17-year cycle. The death card and that resurrection and renewal card. The flip. A flip is happening. In a moment, in a twinkling of an eye, there's a switch. There's a flip. Some people call that the rapture. Now, you know on the channel that I have a very different understanding of people being poofed away. But in this moment that the scriptures talk about, that the incorruptible, the corruptible put on incorruptible. You're given a new body. A lot of people want to think that that's like superpowers. And I've been waiting for superpowers, so I'm okay with it. I keep telling everybody that, the sun's, maybe we're going to get some information. Maybe all of a sudden it's going to hit some latent gene or something, turn something on. I'm not into the decalcification of all the pineal stuff, but, something like that. Just imagine like you get the charge and then you're supercharged all of a sudden. New group of people, flipped, switched. The switch is turned on. I don't believe that's the way it works. I think that this is more of like you're a corruptible person, meaning that you don't do great stuff. But when the light goes on, you become incorruptible. Sin no longer has its sway. The wages of sin is death. Death has lost its victory because you're going to bigger and better things. Because this is the moment. It's the resurrection. This is a big deal. So it's no wonder that he has branded $399 sneakers at Sneaker Con. A day after he gets that $355 million judgment against him, which adds up to 13, which I said, by the way, this will be flipped. This will be flipped. And guess what? It's going to be flipped. That's from what I hear. The judgment's going to be reversed. Give me a break. It's all theater. And everybody's falling for it. Instead of really working on their lives, really looking at the, understanding that faith creates, that if you had faith as a mustard seed, you could say to this sycamore tree, be cast into the sea. And boom, it is. The Tav is the 22nd letter of the Hebrew alphabet. Here you have a beautiful picture of those sneakers, which I think are cool. But man, if this isn't the ruby red slipper that Oz, the great Oz, tells Dorothy how to use it to get her home. A lot of people said about the Trumpster that he was here to bring in great change. Great change. That's the case. You have even that really disgusting and horrible, I think horrible because I look at her art and I just think it's just so degrading and it's just so ugly. She says, her name's Marina, by the way. She says that he is the great magician sent to wake everybody up. So wouldn't he have some magic shoes? Wouldn't he have some magic shoes? Well, it looks like this judgment is going to probably be flipped. The flip of the switch, it's on. But not just here. Not just here. And then you'll remember, if you're new to the channel, if you look at the bottom right-hand corner, Revelation's fatal head wound revealed, Trump, the virus, and the 25th Amendment. Will they try to fake it? All based on a dream I had before the election, where it certainly seemed like Trump was going to lose it all, but it may be part of some bigger plan. And I've surmised that plan is always God's plan. if it's carried out. Doesn't mean that it's a good thing for you. But then again, maybe that judgment's not coming for you. Maybe this second death that takes place after this moment, the switch is, it's flipped. Maybe all of this stuff happens for a reason. Now, here's funny. Speaking of poles and souls being flipped and changed. Now, Donut put this out. He'd let me play it, but I'm not gonna. But, this is just such a great video. If you don't know anything about his channel, you should check it out. But you can just take a look at this. Now, you see the poles, the souls to the poles. And we're talking about the poles being shifted when it comes to the sun and when it comes to other things. That there is some kind of an alchemical action that takes place to turn one thing into something else. I encourage you to check out his channel. This is, pretty cool. Philosopher's Stone, alchemical substance capable of turning base metals, such as mercury and gold, into silver, called the elixir of life, used for rejuvenation to achieve immortality. This is the wizard's way, and this is what it seems is happening. They're trying to extend life. Even Jared Kushner said this. Who remembers this in the live chat? You got to let me know and leave me a comment too. Jared Kushner said he's going to keep working out because he thinks this is the last generation that's going to die. Scriptures do talk about men and women crying out for death and not being able to have it. It's all about the data, people. It's all about changing one thing to another. Perhaps with DNA. Who knows? I don't know. But it's all about Dorothy, the Wizard of Oz, and it's about everything being flipped upside down and right side up. And at the very last scene, there's a balloon. There's a balloon. They're going to use this State Fair balloon to get Dorothy back home. And here, just a year and short period of time after we had the spy balloon on top of us, that went over, by the way, probably, I think it did at least when I looked at Nebraska. Here we have another balloon at the same exact time. It's all weird. Weirder still is that the tables are being flipped in space. That's just from a couple of days ago. Astronomers spotted a black hole flipping the table. I talk about flip. I put a bunch of stuff on X about flip. Kim Shady sends me this on X, and it's Wario and Luigi. And I'll play a little bit of it. He's pointing to Wario, who, right? This is Bizarro land. I got to tell you, Elon was funny in this. He was funny in this. But there you have the M. There you have the W. You have the 13, the 23. The tables are being flipped. I say the tables are being flipped, and what happens? What happens? I say the tables are being flipped, and what happens? Yesterday, flip is trending on X. Flip. That's strange. I mean, what are the odds that here I'm saying everything's flipped, and then boom, flip is trending? I was beside myself. So I guess a basketball player, Filipski or something, I don't know. Something happened. They rushed the stage and he got injured. But flip was trending yesterday. Very strange. Stranger still is this black hole phenomenon is well known, but sometimes an extroversion occurs when the black hole flips the table. Now, what that means is it throws out gas so fast that it empties the surrounding region of space. This leaves no more material for new stars to form, making a permanent change to the galaxy in which the black hole resides. The bottomless pit opens up, and locusts flood the earth. This is all in the book of Revelation. And those locusts, by the way, you know, they used to call cicadas locusts because they have the shields. Parallel dimensions, parallel worlds, the upside down. So I say this is Bizarro world. What do? I say there's got to be something about Bizarro Superman. And there is. Superman, listen to this. This is crazy. This is crazy because this is just out. His most underrated adversary, and that would be, of course, Bizarro Superman, becomes, get this, an ultimate magic user. He uses magic. He uses magic. He uses special shoes. Special golden ruby red shoes. By the way, do you know that the slippers weren't ruby red? They were silver originally. Another alchemical metal. Silver, gold. Silver and gold, right? He uses magic. So you know what Superman has to do? He's got to make friends with an old enemy. And who's that enemy? Well, the Joker, the craziest person in this reality, in Bizarro world, is the most rational and the sanest. So Superman from this reality has to team up with the Joker to overcome the magic of Bizarro Superman. Let me put this in terms that you can understand. Superman and Bizarro Superman would be a symbol of Christ and the Antichrist. The Rock of Christ and the wrestler The Rock, who played Black Adam, who just did what? Anybody know the wrestling term? He turned heel. He flipped. No longer a good guy, a bad guy. Everything's being turned on its head. Flipped. Bizarro world indeed. Prove me wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me that everything makes sense. The moon lander, landing on the moon. This is the big deal for Artemis. You know what the problem was? Artificial intelligence. It forgot to flip a switch. So, the Odysseus, named after, of course, if you know Homer's Iliad. I had a buddy who set me down the path looking into Achilles. Because, of course, Odysseus was known, he was the king that was known for what? The Trojan horse. The Trojan horse. How do we get in and take over? By a gift. It's free. I'll give you a pack of gum. Look at how good these fries are. Let me have it. Trojan horse. It's a gift. We're giving it to you for free. And now perhaps there could be a flip. Something. A switch. Something goes on. Who knows? Of course, all of this is just the writer and me writing, the next weird horror and spiritual story, because it's a little bit of both, right? It's all how you perceive it. Like, I see all of this as exciting. I know we're all going to be great. And it doesn't matter if you did something or you didn't do something, okay? Believe me, nothing can separate us from the love of God. I don't care what anybody says. And I'm telling you, you're going to see a flip. And it may not be what the enemy wants. Maybe just a flip in the right direction. But it turns out that this Odysseus mission ended up sideways. It's like saying upside down. It went sideways. It went the opposite direction of where it was supposed to go. And it fell. Odysseus, the lander, the moon. But we did it back when, how long ago, right? When did we do it? We did it a while ago. You lost all that handwritten data. Somebody misplaced it. Now they're having a problem. And the footage, you want to take a look at the footage? I think I may have it. Let me see if I have it first. Nah, I don't have it. I apologize. You could probably find it. But flips over. Flip. Switch. I don't think I'm reaching here. Meanwhile, they can't do that, but Elon's sending 1 million people to Mars by 2030. By 2030. I was talking to this on X, and I was asked that question. How does that happen? How does Elon get 1 million people to Mars by 2030? I was asked that question. And I'm like, oh, well, I don't know, maybe like DNA, put it, send like an arc, And then I thought, what about data? What about as you're trying to download people's consciousness? What about downloading people's souls? Is that a possibility? I sure hope not. But I started thinking, because we're more than this fleshly body. We're 100% more than this. And who we are here, it's going to flip. We're given new bodies that could do all sorts of things. Who's to say that the consciousness doesn't go from here into something else? I don't know. 1 million people on Mars by 2030, and they can't get a lander to land straight side up. But they can get perfect footage somehow, They get perfect footage. It's beyond me. The whole thing's beyond me. I don't care if they did, by the way. Anybody has a problem? I don't care if they did. Someone in the chat is saying the earth is not hell, and I'm saying that it could be both. I mean, Scripture, Jesus, here's the thing, a lot of people don't know this. Jesus went to hell. I think it's in the book of 2 Peter, maybe, and he was sent to hell, and he went to hell to set the captives there free from Noah's day, from the flood. They were trapped there. So Christ was sent into the world to save the people from the world. This is a story that is happening again. This is the moment. You got those that are marked by God, marked by Christ, the Tav, the 22, and you got those that are taking that mark, the other one. The mark of Cain, we'll say the mark of the Antichrist, which is 666, which is the number of man, which is taken on the hand and on the mind, right? Forehead, your forward thinking. Have you taken that mark? Your works and your thoughts. And here's the irony. A lot of people don't know this, but it's all going to be okay. It's all going to be okay. But it's better to get ahead of it. It's better to be on the good side. The side that's not going to be led into captivity. Because really, what I think is happening is I think that they're going to be tested and tried and tested and tried. I don't know how it's going to happen until they are, until they mature, until they grow, until they switch from death to life. That's the hope. That's the hope of glory, Christ in you. But he's revealed his game plan to send 1 million people to Mars. I mean, I'll believe it when I see it, I'll believe it when I see it. But I'll tell you, AI right now is very spooky. Mainly because, they're saying it's reached the tipping point. And do you know what a tipping point is? Anybody tell me in the chat what a tipping point is? That's right. A tipping point is when something flips. It's an incremental change. It's a critical threshold that can push a system over to a completely new state. Completely new state. Completely new state. A change. It's interesting. A switch. And there is in Scripture, right before I went live with this, I got this email, we shall all be changed. And I was like, you know what? I should probably lay this out for people too. It was like perfect timing, how everything works together for the good. And so it is written, the first man, Adam, was made a living soul. That's us, by the way. Adam means mankind. But the last Adam, the last idea of you, the last you in this world, because you would be humanity. So the first humanity is a living soul, like an animal. But the last Adam made a quickening spirit. However, that which was first was not spiritual, but natural. The first idea of us is we're not spiritual. We're not like spiritual beings. We don't have a connection the most. We start off and we think this is all there is. And we put our faith in this world. But the last shall be first. It's a picture of, in that moment, you understand that you're more. Now, this is really revelatory if you can grasp this. The first man is of the earth, earthy. But the second man is the Lord from heaven. As is the earthy, such are they that do earthy. It's the people that do things that are carnal. But as is the heavenly, so are they that are heavenly. And we have borne the image of the earthy. But we shall also bear the image of the heavenly, which is Christ. Now this I say, brethren, flesh and blood cannot inherit the kingdom of God. So what does it matter how anybody gets to Mars? Flesh and blood, it's not important. Neither does corruption inherit incorruption. Can't be a corrupt person to become incorruptible. Behold, I show you a mystery. We'll not all sleep, but we shall be changed in a moment, in a twinkling of an eye, at the last trump. For the trumpet shall sound, and the dead shall be raised incorruptible, and we shall be changed. For this corruptible must put on incorruption. It's about the moment when we get rid of sin. It's the moment when the mortal puts on immortality and death is swallowed up in victory. So I think things are going to get weird. I think they are going to be a little nutty. But I do believe that flip, that switch that has been thrown, as the midnight call has gone out, I think it's going to encourage and it's going to lead you all. But, that's up to you, I guess. All right, well, listen, I love all of you. I hope that this was a great show. I haven't done a live show in a while. If you would like to support the channel, there's a couple of ways you can do it. This is how I do it. Without the support, I wouldn't be able to do this. You can get a copy of the novel. It's doing amazing. I tell people all the time, get a hard copy, get a copy in your hand, have a highlighter. There's so much stuff hidden in here. And it was written really for this day, even though I wrote it a long time ago. It's a fiction. You can go and click the link in the description of the video below. If you want to get any of the merch, you can. You get yourself coffee mugs, all of it. I think I try to, everything that I put out there, I try to, have it be something that's not only encouraging to you, but something that benefits the world as a whole. And so if you want, you can go in there. That's the way you can do it. If you want to get products that are not going to tear you up, get you all messed up, you can go to trulyfreehome.com. It's my sponsor. And you can get, soap and detergent and all that stuff. All of these little things that you do, PayPal, of course, Patreon. I'm more involved there now than I was before because I'm actually enjoying the fact that we're growing the community. And anybody who does anything, I'm grateful. And even if you can't, all you got to do, hit the like, leave a comment, let me know what the show meant to you, and share it around. And don't get freaked out if things start to go topsy-turvy, because I have a feeling that if you think things are crazy now, I think it's going to get really nuts. All right, I love each and every one of you. Please let me know in the comment section what you thought of the show, and I'll talk to you soon. All right, bye-bye. God bless you. I love you. Bye-bye now. Adios.